Amanda, this seems really similar to a video you made like a year or two ago. Yeah, we keep having the same discussion.
That's it. That's my intro.
Hey, I'm Amanda. I'm professionally curious and I talk for a living, and you're watching Swell Entertainment, the channel where I tell you about whatever I'm obsessed with each week. And today we are talking about the death of taste, developing taste in reading, personal style, in food, in art, everything. I'm talking about this now because of a little bit of a little tiff that arose on TikTok, but the conversation I think is extremely relevant in the time of TikTok. And I've talked about this before. This video is a previous video of mine in like literally a different form, but this whole debate has gotten so much worse, I feel like, now because of things like AI and because of the growing normalization of algorithms and reliance on social media. I've previously talked about analog bags and like logging off, personal curriculums. I've talked extensively about me actively begging you to not give over your thought process and thinking to AI, how that will affect your brain long term and how that will affect your intelligence long term. And it all ties into taste, really, because taste impacts literally everything in your life. Your personal taste really is your personal standards for yourself across the board. Style-wise, food-wise, people-wise, partner-wise, personal taste 100% feeds into how you engage with people in the real world. This whole discussion, as it has devolved on TikTok and been discussed, I'm interested in, especially as someone who is not watching American Love Story, the CBK and JFK Jr. show, because I didn't want to, because I don't like Ryan Murphy, so I don't engage with his stuff. The response to CBK's portrayal in that show, specifically from the fashion influencer girly pops, has been extremely interesting to see because it's nothing new, not really. She's always been an icon for some people in the, like chic workwear, the everyday casual luxury type of look. She's always been like a presence in these spaces, but I don't know if it's just the show is now causing a new boom of like newbies to become even aware of her, or if it's just, oh, now we have things.
Fairly certain this music is copyrighted, so I'm talking over it. They're talking about how C.O. Bigelow is having a viral moment and how you can get Carolyn Bessette Kennedy's exact headbands still to this day, and basically everyone is talking about how they saw it on social media.
That we can point to as this is a CBK item.
But first, let me tell you about the sponsor for today's video, Dream from Beam. Sleep is a very important part of the day, and I wish I was better at it. I also wish that my dog would let me sleep in longer, but alas, I need to work with what I've got. And between my screen time and this most recent time change, my sleep schedule has just not been the greatest. But good thing Dream can help get me right on track and help me make the most of those sleep hours I can get. Dream uses natural sleep ingredients that create a great nighttime blend, easing your body into rest and supporting it through all stages of sleep. Fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and wake up refreshed. You just take 1 scoop of the powder into hot water or milk. I like doing water and then cooling it off with a little bit of almond milk, but that's just me. And sip it 30 to 45 minutes before bedtime. I really thought the brownie batter was gonna be my favorite, and it's very good, okay? I'm a chocolate girl. However, the sea salt caramel, it got me. It gets me every time. I've used most of these. These are also perfect for me because they come in little individual serving packets, which is great for me with how much I travel. And sometimes you just can't get a good night's sleep the first couple of nights when you're traveling. Good sleep doesn't have to be hard. And March is also Sleep Awareness Month, so if you click the link in the description box and use code SWELL, you'll get 40% off your purchase for a limited time only. And thank you so much to Beam for sponsoring this video.
All right, let's get to the, I guess, drama at the center of this. It feels so silly. One, looking at Tamsin's take, I was like, how is this upsetting people? But I mean, I guess, people don't like, why does some of the things I say upset people? Me wanting better for people, me wanting you to use your brains, me wanting you to ask questions, that upsets a lot of people. I've gotten some dumb emails from people lately, specifically the men on the looks maxing video. Some of you are just like, oh, okay, bro. There's a few people in the center of this. Okay, so for the taste discussion, okay, it's Tamsin and the Style-ish podcast. So Tamsin is someone that I have been following for years, actually, on TikTok. I like a lot of her takes. I like her style. I like, her dog Rhubarb. She is someone that I follow with and engage with, and I agree with a lot of her takes. So when her burner account with much less followers on it popped up on my feed, because I was engaging with her takes before, it wasn't that surprising to me. So I do follow it, and it's got 35K followers now. I don't know what it had at the time of all of this, because this has been going on for about a week now. But Tamsin has been posting more to this burner account because her main account is like low-key, seemingly shadow banned, but that happens quite a bit here on TikTok, especially since the new US owners got involved. The fluctuating of performance is like really the one consistency that you can bet on with TikTok. But she made a video about taste in response seemingly to the same thing I was talking about with the rise of CBK and like CO Bigelow, I think is the name of it, which is the company that has been around for ever, it seems. But they sell one of the accessories that CBK was photographed in a lot, Carolyn Bessette Kennedy, that she was photographed in a lot in her life before she passed. It's a tortoiseshell headband as well as a couple of other pieces like sunglasses and things like that. Because of the show coming out, the amount of people that are lining up to buy fuck ass headband. Sometimes headbands don't look good on people. Sometimes it looks goofy. The headband can't look good on everyone. Here's this.
So many people nowadays have terrible taste or have not developed their own sense of good taste because the internet and social media has literally become a digital wet nurse, spoon feeding micro trends and aesthetics and ways of looking and ways of living to people. You need to stop listening to strangers on the internet telling you what is chic and what is good and what is stylish, because they can put together a nice looking mood board or a 60-second video where they've taken a load of images from Pinterest and been like, this is it guys. Developing good taste requires curiosity, it requires friction, it requires longevity and practice. So much of developing good taste comes from friction and experience. And if you are terrified of trying new things or experiencing said friction because you know it's going to be put on the internet and you'll be ridiculed, of course you're just going to fall in line and only wear and do what you think is acceptable, dictated by algorithms and what you've seen on the internet. You have to see and feel physical, tangible things. You have to be able to feel the quality of the material and the fabric. You have to see how things are tailored, how they hang. You cannot consume everything digitally and in small, palatable, compact pieces online and then expect to have good taste or a sense of personal self.
The line that I think is so succinct and summarizes this whole video: you can't consume things in bite-sized chunks or images on a digital platform and think that that's going to help you develop personal taste. Now, obviously, good taste is subjective. What I like and what some of you are like, Amanda's horrible taste. If you just look at the snapshot of my YouTube channel, you're probably like, Amanda is so goddamn chaotic. She's all over the place. She likes all these different things. That's fine. I like my content and I like what I'm making. I'm not going to sit here and say I have good taste. I have my own taste. Does that necessarily mean that it's good? No, but it's mine, and I've worked very hard to develop that taste. Tamsin's point of like, you can't just consume digitally. You can't just put a bunch of things on a Pinterest board and not engage with, why have you put that on the Pinterest board? Why is that image on Pinterest? Why does this Pinterest image fit into this? Why not look at things deeper? I don't know if this is a TikTok thing. I don't know if this is an AI thing, a Gen Z thing, a millennial thing. I don't know if it's so much of the consumer brain of like, yeah, let's not look deeper. The amount of frustration I got with people coming out of Wuthering Heights, which I still have not seen the movie. I can't bring myself to do it. The discourse that I saw of the movie of people being like, I didn't like this, or people being like, I did like this. It's not that deep. You just got to turn your brain off to enjoy it. I don't want to turn my brain off when I watch something. I want to feel things. I want to engage with them. I don't want to turn my brain off. Like I've been to movies that are horrible movies, but I had a grand old time. Do I look at why I had a grand old time within that? Yeah, of course. Like everything is that deep. It's just what is deep to you and what impacts you. You know what I'm saying? That is a part of taste. Your movie interest is a part of taste. I love horror movies. I have friends that are complete film buffs who love film, love engaging with stories and everything, but we could never agree on certain things like horror movies because they hate the feeling of being scared, so they can't engage with horror movies in that way. So that's a different in sense of taste, and it doesn't make either of us wrong. I feel like so much of taste, especially in the influencer space, the creator space, the TikTok space of it all. The line that I heard recently was, if you can link every single piece of clothing that you own and an Instagram photo or a Shop My or whatever, you shop too much. You buy too much. You do X, Y, and Z. I feel like there's certain influencers, you can look at their stuff, you can scroll through their feed, and you can clearly see the eras they went through depending on what was popular and trending at the time. And I talked about this in a similar video a few years back now when I talked about the blank core aesthetic or blank aesthetic trends of, I think I talked about mob wife, I talked about rockstar's girlfriend, I talked about cottage core. And the persistent one is obviously clean girl, it's quiet luxury, you know, and it's like, it's quiet luxury, but we're buying everything from Shein and Zara, you know, and it's like, okay, well, part of the quiet luxury is the quiet part, okay? And then the other part is also quality, you know, like the luxury element of it as well. And the same thing goes with Carolyn Bessette Kennedy. I think this is the story I heard with her, that she didn't like wearing logos. She hated wearing logos. And so take the story with a grain of salt. I heard this years ago. I don't know if this is true.
So this article from a few years ago talks about how she never wore logos, and also if something did have logos on them, she would have them removed. So this story could be true, but I haven't found anything anywhere saying that this happened specifically at Prada. So take that with a grain of salt.
But she apparently went in to buy something at Prada at one point and asked them to remove the medallion, the Prada medallion on the items because she doesn't want to wear the logo, but she wanted to wear Prada. There was a few instances of things like that, of her literally asking to have logos and medallions and things that are identifiable to brands removed. But it didn't change the fact that she was buying Prada. The same thing with Tamsin's thing of, she is basically saying, go and engage with real life. Go and see the brushstrokes of an item. Go and live life. Don't just look at the photo. Go and see the photo. Go feel clothes. Go see how it fits on you. Go and develop that sense of taste for yourself. Okay? And this is where the Stylish podcast comes in. I've never listened to the Stylish podcast. I've seen clips from various other podcasts within this org, obviously. But Stylish, I don't think I've ever seen their videos before. But listening to the clips talking about Tamsin's video, which Tamsin uploaded the clips herself on her second channel, her second page, because they were deleting some stuff.
So I feel a little attacked.
How do you feel about it, Joe?
Oh, fucking hell, this was pretentious. I'm sorry. I just had that video I watched and I was just like, this is the biggest first world problem I've ever heard in my life. She was in this video, she's like, to have taste, you have to go and see the art and see the brushstrokes in person. Most of us are just trying to get to work on time, okay?
I love it so much when you get pissed.
Yeah,
like when Joe gets pissed off, guys, it is like Savage Sally comes out and I love it.
It was just one of those things that I watched and I was just like, oh, go touch some grass. Honestly, if you want to use Pinterest to get some style,
Go take your shoes off, sweetie, and go stand in nature.
Yeah, that's my take. Anyway, go on.
I love it.
Look, I'm inclined to agree. And you know what, Joe? No one will ever accuse you of not doubling down and saying what you feel with your chest.
What I didn't like about this take was you're not stylish or you don't have taste if you don't source your taste outside of the internet.
And it has to have friction.
Like, we're allowed to get our inspiration from anywhere. At the moment, I'm getting inspiration from walking through other people's houses, hoping that I can potentially buy it.
Yeah, great. Well, do you know what I was going to say? I've got more than enough friction. I'm a nearly 1-year-old woman who is single with a big fat golden retriever, running my own business, working like a dog. There is more than enough fucking friction in my life. So you know what? You back the fuck off. Yeah. And if I want to find a jacket on a served ad on TikTok, you leave me the fuck alone. And if someone tells me to buy the blush on Instagram, guess what? If it looks good and she's got the same complexion, I'm going to fucking buy it.
I think I've riled us up.
I know. I'm like,
you know what? I've got fucking taste.
I'm literally like deceased right now because I'm like, have we ever been more pissed? I'm looking at both of you like, holy shit, we've struck a nerve.
They tell her to touch grass, which is so funny because I'm like listening to the clips of the podcast and then re-listening to Tamsin's videos. I'm like, you guys are seemingly having the same discussion, but you're really bothered by Tamsin's takes for the most part. Like it feels almost like they were personally attacked by Tamsin's video when they're essentially being like, yeah, touch grass. Forget the pretentious comment for a second. The touch grass comment is literally what Tamsin is telling people to do. Touch grass. The line they got really bothered by was like, yeah, it takes friction. Like you have to go and experience friction and like actually deal with stuff to develop your sense of taste. I don't disagree with that. So much of developing a sense of style, a sense of taste for reading, for clothing, everything, you have to experience life, but also you have to experience life and experience what you don't want. That is friction. That's what that is. I know I don't like whole tomatoes because I've had whole tomatoes. It sounds silly, but like I know I don't like reading books recommended by this person on TikTok because I've read books recommended by this person on TikTok. I know I don't like waiting in line because I've spent so much of my goddamn life now being an event person waiting in goddamn line. I don't like it. I hate it. It's irritating. Do I know how to do it now? Yes. Do I engage with it as little as possible, despite my job? Yes. Friction is a part of life. I think there's no one on this planet that has never not engaged with friction, truly. Again, the touch grass one is so funny to me because she's literally telling you to do that. Engage with art, engage with clothing, engage with life outside of the digital screen. And I understand that's easier said than done in the current state of things, especially here in America. You know, money, job market, you know, whatever. It's hard to engage with things in real life when we don't have money to go outside because it costs money to go outside, seemingly. If you, for yourself, you're like, I want to be fashionable. I want to be who I want to be. I want to dress how I want to dress. I want to be like this. Is your brain thinking, I want to dress in a ways that'll help me go viral? Do I want to look like everyone else because that's what gets clicks and views? Do I want to be dressing like Carolyn Bessette Kennedy because that's what's trendy right now? Or do you want to find what you like wearing? One line that a lot of people have been bringing up with Carolyn Bessette Kennedy is like, yeah, you're not going to look like Carolyn Bessette because you're not a tall, statuesque blonde, okay? Which I don't disagree with, okay? But I also feel like that body type is one part of styling, but it's not like make or break of styling. You can have two model-esque, statuesque women, same height, same build, okay? And one could look totally awkward in the same dress that someone looks like a fucking goddess in, okay? And it's not a body type thing, it's an attitude thing. If someone is uncomfortable in a red dress with a bunch of cutouts over the front, you know, with like a low back slit, they're never gonna look good in that dress because they're not comfortable in it. They may aesthetically look good, but they're not going to feel comfortable. The photos are going to be awkward. They're going to look uncomfortable. Everyone's going to be uncomfortable because they're uncomfortable. Whereas this person's like, God, I look good, you know, and feels good in it because that's what they want to wear. Whereas this person might want to be in jeans and a t-shirt and like an oversized jacket and she'll be more comfortable. And then everyone will be like, oh my God, hi, because that's what they feel comfortable in. So much of that is also taste. What is taste to you for comfort? This looks good on me. This feels good on me. I got my colors done in like 2023, okay? And it was one of the smartest things I ever did. It was like $300, arguably too much money in my opinion. However, it really did help with when I did start really taking more look at like what I own and what I bought, you know, forget the no buy year prior to all that, okay? And realizing that I had already developed things that I liked were also things that look good on me. Shocker, I have green eyes. I like wearing the color green. I look really good in the color green. It's little things like that. Even before my credit card debt was getting dumb, when I was looking at buying things, like it wasn't even so much like, oh, I can't buy that. I was like, I like how this looks. I love this piece, but it's not going to look good on me. And so therefore I won't be confident in wearing this, so I shouldn't buy it because it's just going to sit in my closet because I'm never going to want to wear it because I know I'm not going to look good in it because it's not going to be something that I like how it looks on me. You can like the piece and acknowledge that it's not going to look good on you. That's also a big part of this as well. Someone brought up a really good point in the response to this whole debacle with Stylish and Hampson. They were talking about how so much of developing good taste is liking less.
I think the one thing you're often not told about developing and curating your taste is that in order to have good taste, you have to like less. It's literally like not about consuming as much as you can and knowing everything, because one, you'll go insane that way, and two, you'll not really like take in anything and decide what you like. But also it's sometimes just straight up saying, yeah, I don't like that. That's how you develop your taste, through those like negative spaces of like what you don't like. That's how you realize what you do.
And I think that's where, for myself at least, the no buy challenge has really come in with me for this, with developing my own personal style further as a 28-year-old now. Because obviously also as you age, the things that you were interested in taste-wise as well develops. It's not even so much you develop a palate, except you really do. Like things that you liked when you were 22 or 17, of course, are going to change when you're 35 and your life has changed drastically. It just will. And that's, I think, a sign of growing up. It's literally a symptom of growing up, is that what you are interested in changes. And of course, there's going to be things that are going to always play into the role. I still like the Ninja Turtles. I also like Bottega Veneta. You know, like there are things that are going to change and develop, but there's also going to be things that are interests that are still interesting to you, and that doesn't impact your taste in the same way. It's an interest. Another instance that I think is a really good tactic for this, like I mentioned, my no buy year, something similar that I did in 2024 was Old Loser and Brooklyn's 75 Hard Style Challenge. Now, 75 Hard or 75 Soft, you may have heard of. It's 75 days of, you know, a rigid program to basically try and build habits and change your life. The 75 Hard Style Challenge is very similar, but it's all about style and what you are, you know, wearing in your closet and things like that. And the main part of it, I would say, is 75 days of you can't buy anything. You only are able to get dressed every day, go through your wardrobe, sort through your wardrobe, everything that you own, which some people are like, well, yeah, of course I'm gonna wear what I wear. But in the age of consumerism and on TikTok, every day someone's doing a crazy haul thing, you would be shocked how many people don't realize that they're just buying stuff every other week. I did this in 2024, and I actually really liked this because I learned that there was a lot of pieces that I loved, that I had, that I liked a lot, but I hated wearing them for most of the time. It was material. Like the color of this red skirt was great, but the material felt cheap and awkward, and I hated how it shifted around on my body. Things like that for me is where I was like, I think I'm a material snob, you know, like I was like, I hated how it looked on me. I hated how it looked in the mirror. I hated how it felt when I sat down. I hated how it looked on a photo, you know, and it's like my job is obviously very online. So like those are things that I do have to think about. But more importantly, it's like I liked this item. I liked it. I bought it. I have decent taste for myself, you know, as I've talked about previously, but I hated the material. But this is something that I bought off the internet. It's not that I probably didn't look. I know I didn't look at the materials list, you know, but so that's what that challenge really helped me find, was like I had a lot of pieces overall that I cultivated that I loved, but the materials are things that I slacked on that I didn't love anymore. And so I wasn't wearing these items, and I was reverting to like these certain things that I've had for years that are just like these easy items, like jeans and a t-shirt. I do that a lot. Sweaters and t-shirts, you guys see a lot. Same thing goes with the no buy challenge. I literally just wrote about this on the Glasses Files, my Substack, where I was talking about how I think that this really did fix my consumer brain, because overall, for not buying, having this rigid rule of I'm not going to spend money frivolously, I really kind of decimated my need to just give into little treat culture for clothing items, for Bulbasaur figurines, for merch, for whatever, because I finally was telling my inner child no, which is what needed to happen for me to save money, but also to realize, yeah, I don't need this. Why do I need this? Why did I think I need this? Because it was cool, because it was fun, because I wanted it. That's $13 I can't put towards my debt. That's dumb. I've talked about this in the piece. I get so angry now. You guys know me. I'm a day one TikTok shop hater, okay? But I get so angry now by some of the sales tactics of TikTok shop. Run, don't walk to buy this. Someone's getting fired because this dental floss is so cheap. You guys know I had to try this viral lipstick. No, I didn't know that. Do you actually like it, or are you just liking it because you get 30 cents in commission? And I get it. Those are just sales tactics. Some of you can probably get annoyed at me whenever I do a brand deal. I get it. There's probably a brand deal in this video. I don't know. And you cannot like those to begin with. But like my actual irritation hearing the phrase viral, if anything, hearing the words viral make me not want it more. Hearing the phrase this viral blank makes me want it even less, because why do I want to look like everyone else? Why would I want to collect things, own things that everyone else has when just for the sake of the fact that everyone else has it? Like the selling point is that it's viral. Why is that a selling point? Why did the Stylish podcast get annoyed about Tamsin's video? You got to ask that question for yourself. And aside from the fact that they, called it pretentious and then seemingly didn't fully listen to it, why does anyone that does brand deals or is an influencer get agitated when someone is telling you to not just buy things that you see online? I don't think that the influencer economy would collapse if everyone stopped just buying things digitally and buying things based off of what would go viral on TikTok or what would look good in an Instagram photo on TikTok. But I think it would be a huge hit. I think it would affect things like crazy. You being an individual and you developing your own sense of style and sense of self and your sense of taste would impact the influencer economy. It fully would. Just you doing it, maybe not, but the entirety of the United States, the entirety of Australia, the entirety of the UK, it would impact things. This industry is not going away, obviously. The consumer economy is not going away. I think it will shift and change constantly. We're seeing that change constantly. We're seeing people actively acknowledge what is impacting them. This is my concern here as well, with like these things colliding. I've seen so many videos this week alone from people who I've seen their videos before of them being extremely upset about them not being able to get jobs in this market, in this economy here in the US. And now their videos, they are extremely apathetic. They don't even want to try anymore with getting a job, because why are they putting themselves through the stress of applying if they're just going to get dicked around for 3 interviews and then told they're not getting a job because the job's not real to begin with? And that's a really concerning shift happening. That it is, I think it's a symptom of the economy, obviously, but it is concerning to see that shift in people, because I feel like once people start getting hopeless, then things get bad. And so I really don't want everyone's whole identity to be in consuming and buying things, because then I worry about when you can no longer afford to do that, which no one can afford to do that right now in this economy. And so I do worry about, what is that going to do to people mentally who haven't developed taste, ideals, interests outside of buying things, when that way of getting dopamine is now just gone. One of my favorite follows was this creator that was also doing a no buy year, but she was doing a no buy year to battle her shopping addiction because of her credit card debt. And frankly, every time she breaks her no buy, she is buying the greatest items I've ever seen in my life. And you know where she's getting them? They're all secondhand off of eBay. She styles them in such a way. She has such great stuff. And I'm like, I feel bad every time she breaks her no buy year. But it's like I'm like, God, she's got good taste. Like literally every piece. I'm like, God, I would never even think to buy that. But it's so good. And it's like, she can't link that. She's not going to profit from me thinking that she has good taste with that video. She might if she's in the creator fund, but that's it. I'm all over the place, but I'm serious. Touch grass. Try not buying things for a month. Clothing wise, like even just forget doing a no buy. Maybe you don't need to do a no buy, but give yourself the 75 hard style challenge, and don't buy clothes for a month or 2 and actually go through all the things you own, like see what you have that you don't wear. And I'm not saying, jump down to a capsule wardrobe or anything like that, but like actually engage with the items that you own. Past this was this amount of money, actually engage with, does this bring you joy? Truly engage with the things that you read. Do you like reading this thing? Does it upset you? Please think deeply. Please look deeply. Please engage with things past the image on the screen in front of you. Please engage with things past this video. I'm sure there's other creators that have talked about personal style and developing taste. Maybe I'll link those as well. Engage with creators past me. You know what I'm saying? Engage with this topic past me. I'm sure there's another creator that has a take on the same topic of the Tamsin Stylish podcast thing that has a totally different take. Engage. Think critically. Don't just consume. Think. Journal. Get a piece of paper. Don't buy a journal. Get a piece of paper. Write down. What would good taste mean to you? Engage with that. Think about it. Take it in. Become it. Again, this is all a first world fucking problem, okay? But I just think that every day I see something that concerns me a little bit more about Gen Z, and I don't know where it ends, but I'm not liking where I'm seeing it going. And so I really want everyone to engage with things past just buying things. A good motivator for that is developing personal taste and personal style, and like, what do you want for yourself in this world? What quality do you want for yourself? Can you bear to not have the trendiest item if it means you not buying from Shein for 3 months? Like, are you comfortable with not being, most on-trend dressed person at your girls' night? Like, are you comfortable with that? Can you engage with that? What, like, the uncomfortability of that? You know what I'm saying? Okay, that's gonna be it. Reminder, I stream on Twitch. Swell Entertainment is now available on Spotify. Reminder to go Girly Pop Go for like some more car and motorsport content. Shout out to my channel members. Also, like some more support me and channel memberships and going like join now below. For the social media that'll be up here. And that's me. Have a lovely day. Goodbye. I was so tickled the other day because I was walking Hermes and there was a man. He was taking a photo of a bird over my shoulder. He was enjoying himself so much, that little bit of whimsy of this little bird. And you might be like, Amanda, what does that have to do with anything? There is beauty in this bird. This man found beauty in this moment, and he had a photo, and he smiled to himself, and then he kept on walking. Didn't look at me, didn't engage with me. That's it. I do think he's happier than I am.